I want to talk about what happened to local tuck shops in townships. So, pre 2006, going back, I think many townships had black owned tuck shops, which some were big, some were not so big. But we know that there was a lot of these shops where the family of that shop was what we would call hood rich or somewhat wealthy for the area that they are in. And some of the businesses were much larger, and those people were actually affluent people. Some of them ended up moving to the suburbs, and their children were going to multiracial schools. Got the best of the best education. They lived the best of the best lives that everybody aspired to. And fast forward to now, we see that there's almost no black owned tuck shop or small supermarket in any township you go to in the country. And the conversation around that is these businesses fell because mainly foreigners started coming into the country and they were selling products that they were selling in these tuck shops for much cheaper, and therefore black people started gravitating towards these shops. And a bit of that is true, but from my own observation, I think there might be a little bit of a difference in my opinion, because what I noticed is that it's not just actually these black owned tuck shops that fall. It's many other black owned businesses that fall, and other people come into the neighborhood and actually take over that industry. One of the things that I think might have been the problem, number one, is mismanagement of the finances. And what I mean by that is the owner of the business will live a very affluent life and actually want to show people that I live a very affluent life. And what tends to happen is when they did that, they would also go into the business and take money from out of the business. Instead of taking only profits, they would take even the revenue of the business so that they could fund their lifestyles. And not only that, it's the fact that if the shop owner passes on, the business dies. And the reason the business dies when the original shop owner passes on is because maybe they didn't teach their children how to build this business further and grow this business further. Because if we look at the example of Richard Maponya, one may argue that he got a little bit of funding and grooming from the Oppenheimers or whoever it may be. However, had it only been him who got the grooming and he didn't teach his children, then his business would have also died eventually. But if you look at the legacy of Richard Maponya, we have now two U Foods, which is ran by his son. I think his name is Comfort or something like that, but he's also a Maponya. The business continues to grow, and this guy is also responsible enough to also teach the next generation. And that is how many big white-owned businesses actually keep on going for hundreds of years. They have a 50, 100-year plan. And then beyond that, the other thing that makes these businesses to actually fall, unfortunately, is being helpful to the black community. And what I mean by that is giving away credit, giving away things on credit. There is so many businesses that actually fell because they couldn't recuperate their money back because the people that owe them were not paying them. Some of these people were moving outside of the neighborhood. Some of these people just never go around close to that shop because they know they owe that shop. So these are some of the three things that I think might have affected the growth of locally owned businesses, outside of the fact that there are now foreigners who are running businesses and they have less costs for them because some of these people actually live in those shops. So competing with those people will also be difficult. But not teaching their children might also be a big contributing factor. And actually, this is more of a message for people who are starting small and growing their businesses. If you grow your business to a point where you could be, let's say, a millionaire here in South Africa, if you don't teach your children to continue running these businesses, nobody else will. And the only way these businesses will survive and keep on growing outside of your own hands is if you actually sell these businesses to the next person who's passionate about running that business or growing that business. Even if it's not a passion, they are serious about growing that business. So, yeah, we see this example with many kinds of businesses, not just tuck shops. I know Batawung Funerals or something like that. That business grew. It was even in Soweto. but the business is dying or has died already because the owner of the business did not teach his family the right way to run this business and keep on growing that business. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Let's have a conversation. I'll see you in the next one. Salute.